Riffing while black. Need to add my friend Dr. Helm, who's returning from a little vacay. Says we're unable to join. We'll try again. Get her on here. Here we go. Boom. And here we go, Dr. Helm. Hello there. Um, Rena B, 707. Good to see you. Thank you so much. We're adding Dr. Helm for our Riffing while black situation here. And hopefully she'll be able to join us. We'll see here in a moment. We're still having some technological challenges, and so um, she can't she still can't see me, but she can hear me, and I can see her. But we'll see if we're able to get on here. Let me see. Uh, Try again one more time. Dr. Helm, come hither. See if she can get on. A bit of a challenge. I think we're going to switch over to another system. Let's see here. One more time. One more time. Dr. Helm. There we go. Try it one more time. Hey there, Ashley Gale. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm here waiting on Dr. Helm to get on with me. She's been on a little bit of vacay, and so she's returning. Uh, See if she can get on with me today. We were having some technological challenges earlier, and it was a bit of a thing. But hopefully we'll be able to get this all sorted out today. Try it again. Can somebody call the Instagrams and be like, yo, you're messing up with my man's stuff? See if she can join us. One more time. One more time. There we go. Hopefully she'll be able to join here in a moment. Here we go. Here you go, Dr. Helm.
Hey, I can't see you, but I can hear your voice, and it is good to be back with you.
Yes, I love your hair.
Ah,
I mean, I'm probably just a little on the jealous side because all I got is baby hairs now. But uh, yeah, and since I've missed you for a couple of weeks, my hair's grown back in on my face, so I'm back to Scriffers winter
well,
hair look.
so this hair, right? The last time we saw each other, I had braids, and I am going natural, and so you're going to see all kinds of interesting things coming out of this.
Wait a minute, you're going natural?
I am.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah,
I want,
yeah,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm ready for this revelation.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what all that looks like, but it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute.
Hey, last time I had to grow hair, it felt like forever. So I'm with you in this journey.
Well, because when I first met you, didn't you have locks?
Yes, I had locks down my
That's
shoulder,
right.
but past my shoulder and everything.
That's
I
right.
enjoyed it, but it wasn't too many years after that unlike our friend Dr. Kevin Coakley, whose hair is still in abundance, mine was had a scarcity mindset, and so
In abundance. Dr. Kevin Coakley. Kevin, you
yes,
got a hair in abundance.
yes, and I'm over here like a Republican thinking like scarcity. It's so sad, it's so sad.
But
But
you rocking it well.
I'm just glad my head is round, because some folks be having look like all the oceans and the waves in their head, and I'm just like, ooh, Lord, you're just talking to me. They
Well,
got like a little,
sometimes you don't know what your head actually looks like until you shave it, and then it's
hey,
too late.
it is too late, but that's why I cut it short. And I was doing, you can't see me, but I was feeling my skull, going like, okay, make
Okay.
sure it's still. So I did a lot of interventions, preliminary interventions for my head
Hair
first.
interventions. That's
Yeah, because
funny.
I was gonna do like I'm gonna do like some folks and just I'm gonna be like, you know how they grow it in the front, in the
Yeah,
back, and nothing in the middle. I was gonna just do that and do a comb over, the black people comb over. You know, the way you try to give me side eye.
most definitely. I think what you got going on is working for you. I don't know about all this mohawk and
Mohawk, mohawk. That was the phase we went through as a culture. Anyhow,
That's right. That's right. So, well,
well,
how are you? You did the podcast solo, and then you had a friend come on. I
yeah.
apologize, everybody, but before we decided to do this podcast, I had a couple of commitments,
Oh
but
yeah.
I'm back and invested and enjoy it. So,
Yeah, so I'm happy to have you back. You bring a nice what they call it fresh air, spring fresh air to the room. So thank you so much.
well, I did wear deodorant, so you're welcome.
We shouldn't even go there because now I have to talk about why I wear coconut oil instead of the poisons from all the lead. You know, I'm down here in Austin with all these hippies, so they like, the lead's going to poison your body. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, sure. So now I'm wearing coconut oil.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I'm back to my roots.
Yes, shea butter.
Oh, there you go. The shea butter, yes. The
Come
shea
on, that's
butter.
our roots. That's our roots, y'all. That's our roots.
Well, we got a good number of topics today. I'm
We
actually,
do.
there's a lot going on, as it seems to be the case. I'm looking at the list here. Now,
On the
there's
list.
plenty of things going on in Chicago. You want to just
Mm.
highlight a few of those things? I know Trump's been talking about coming to Chicago and taking over for a
Well,
spell.
so the biggest thing is, right, that our president is talking about bringing the National Guard to Chicago. So he is not a fan of Chicago. Chicago is largely Democratic. It has lots of racial ethnic groups represented. We in Chicago are not a fan of having the National Guard on our territory. And it's interesting to me that that's not the purpose, at least to my understanding, of what the National Guard is, bringing the National Guard for law and order, or really to settle political scores. But that's
Yeah.
just me. So
Well, no,
I actually live in the suburbs of Chicago. I had lived in Chicago for many years. Love it, love the city. But it's, people who are in the city are angry about it, terrified about what would happen, so that's what's going on.
So, right, unfortunately, we already had a situation in D.C. We had a
Yeah.
situation in L.A. Same kind of situation. Well, other things you brought up were the cuts that has been making to higher education, particularly how it's making it hard for Black folks to go to college. Big issue.
I'm rocking
Here,
back and forth. Woo-hoo. Yeah.
another
Mhm.
thing, and we'll have to talk about this more later. Also, is that the motherhood dilemma. I'm
Yeah,
not
I got a lot to say about
okay.
that.
Okay, and then I'll just put under the umbrella of the bullshit that's going on in Texas, because now since Labor Day, which is just a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
there's a pause on it. But basically, they want to bring the Ten Commandments back to schools.
Hmm.
They're taking cell phones out of the schools,
Hmm.
and they're not allowing librarians. They're basically not allowing librarians to do their job because they're banning books in
Yeah.
libraries.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then of course, teachers can't have any conversations around DEI. It's all interconnected. So I'm gonna put it under
Because
the umbrella.
DEI doesn't exist anymore.
No, it sure doesn't. So that's under the
No.
umbrella of Texas bullshit. So which one do you want to start off with?
You choose.
Ooh, well, before I choose, let's do a grounding card just so
Okay.
we center ourselves. And
That sounds good. I need centering. Definitely.
all right. Here's a good one.
Okay.
I'm arriving here feeling blank. I'm arriving here feeling blank.
Stressed as hell.
Well, we're about to talk about some things. Anything in particular brings us stress?
I'm just going to make a long story short. I'm in my office right now, which is where I do our podcast most of the time. And I put in a mini split unit, which was supposed to allow me to be able to use this lovely space all season long. Long story short, it ain't working. I've had 3 HVAC guys. It keeps costing me money. So I am pissed and stressed. And the third one just left this morning and it's still not fixed or resolved. So
Oh,
that is why I am feeling stressed out. And some of the changes in higher ed, which is my main job, are really devastating.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that for you. I
Yeah,
want to say, little sister, it's gonna be all right.
let's hope so. So, and how about you? You are arriving feeling?
I'm arriving here having mixed feelings because I'm excited about a few things. Last week I mentioned that I'm trying to put an event together around the djembe card deck called Plates and Perspectives to go on in DC. And then we're also thinking about putting another bigger event here in Austin. So I'm excited about that.
Mhm.
Also, I think the general overall just anxiety about where things are going in general, right? Whether it be our government, any
Yeah.
number of things. So but it's not anything that's intolerable. It's more, you know how you are excited and nervous at the same time about something good happening? And
Yes.
so that's kind of where I am today. And plus, my friends and I, we all put in money for the big $1.4 billion for the lottery, and we won $32. So,
Hey, well, it's something better
hey,
than nothing.
hey.
And I bet you if you had won that money, you would not be on this podcast right
Oh,
now.
I would, but I wouldn't tell nobody. I'd be like this.
So, yeah, maybe he actually won and we don't know it.
I mean, we won $32 between
Well,
eight people.
if you ever win and you want to contribute to the United Negro College Fund, I have 3 children.
You said we're united and we're Negroes.
I'm I'm just putting in a plug. Anybody want to donate? Again, I have 3 children. We are Negroes. United Negro College Fund. That would be much appreciated.
I feel you, and definitely will think about it and put it
Okay.
in my mind there and manifest that. But
Yeah.
let's. I think we can touch on it because I think it directly connects to the Chicago nonsense. Is other states have tried to have the Ten Commandments in schools. The presumption is if we somehow put Ten Commandments in schools, somehow it will solve some bigger, deeper issue that's going on in our country as far as morality and stuff is concerned. And the way they're doing it, particularly in Texas, it's a slightly different. Is they're basically saying those Ten Commandments have to be posted in a place that's of prominence, and they can be donated from someone like a business person or whoever who pays for them. So the school district doesn't necessarily have to pay for it, but when they're given to the schools, they're obligated to post them in a prominent location in the schools. And now it's already paused because they already found it to be illegal in other states. I think Louisiana and Arkansas tried something like this. But
Hmm.
it's just frustrating because like this is the nonsense that we're going to waste our time on. Ten
Hmm.
Commandments in schools when we got little girls and people dying in Central Texas from floods because we don't have a viable warning system in place. But
Yeah.
this is time. These are the things that we're going to waste our time on. And it's
Well,
just
and to me, it's some of it is wasting our time, but the people who are pushing this don't feel like it's a waste of time at all. To me, it really pushes Christianity, even though it's sort of Old Testament stuff, right? One way of being, right? So if I am a Muslim student in the classroom, right, I would, it is that supposed to apply to me, right? Does it have to be the Ten Commandments that have a religious connotation? Is it, and so, states that are doing this obviously do not appear to care about people who have different religious belief systems. But to me, in my humble opinion, it really violates the spirit of the Constitution, which is happening everywhere,
yeah,
right? Because it means we are sort of pushing one faith or belief system over others, and when that's supposed to be what we were not about to be doing, at least according to our quote unquote founding fathers, even though we
yeah,
stole this land, but we didn't steal this land. But anyway,
yeah,
um, so it's problematic to me.
yeah.
That would be very triggering.
It's
How
very triggering.
unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that it's triggering because even if you're Christian, it's a certain kind of Christianity. It's a
Sure,
white nationalist Christianity it has so you could be Christian still necessarily and still be offended by this as I am
sure,
because
sure.
their version of it has women in a certain place. You know, a lot
Yeah,
of folks who support this kind of legislation, they think women should be, should get out, be at the home taking care of children only. Now, if you want to do that, great, do your thing, but you shouldn't be persuaded by your government to live that kind of lifestyle. It should be a choice you make for yourself. And so this really old school notion of what the Ten Commandments actually represent.
Well, and to me, why can't we just leave people alone? Right? Like we can have different belief systems, you don't have to proselytize somebody into yours, right?
Right.
Everybody really is supposedly, I mean, that seems to have gone out the window, entitled to have their own personal belief system. And in a public education setting, right? It's different if you pay to go to a religious school, but in a public school setting, aren't we supposed to have separation of church and state? And we saw the sort of creep of religiosity in schools under, George Bush too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where, it was the Tea Party back then,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
started to get pushed. And I do find it disturbing because I believe that it sort of discounts other belief system and it says, no, this is the right way. Everybody has to believe this.
Right.
And if you think about, and everybody gets to define what education is about, but it should teach you to be a critical thinker, to question things, augment your understanding of things, come up with new knowledge. Although, ChatGPT, that's another conversation for later. It's sort of preventing some of that. But, and so it makes me angry on the one hand and sad on the other.
Yeah, well, and this happens at the same time they make it illegal to have conversations around DEI, which is even if you were just to focus on Christianity, there's so
Mhm.
much diversity within the Christian faith tradition that saying this is the version of the Ten Commandments we're going to have, and we can't have conversations around DEI, and so now it's I guess one of the things that's frustrating for me is that what some of my conservative associates and maybe even friends is that there's a certain way of thinking that really isn't critical thinking. It's more first check the Bible, second pray on it, third check with your minister, fourth pray on it again, and when in doubt, come talk to your minister. And so there isn't room for dialogue with people who might have different perspectives, different
Mhm.
ideas, different read the Bible is your only source of knowledge. And I'm like, that's problematic. Not because the Bible is not, in my opinion, an authoritative tool or resource or fundamental to your faith, but to act like there's nothing else available to you just seems a bit contrary to common sense.
Mhm. Well, and and that may be something that works for someone else, like the
Yeah,
steps that you outline, and that's perfectly okay for you. But
right,
don't assume what works for you works for everybody else, or that it even should. Like
right.
we're not supposed to be a diverse nation of people, right, with different belief system. We're all supposed to, I'm saying this sarcastically, of course, believe the same things, and I find it very disrespectful.
Right. And I guess that's the hard part for me. It's like the one I just kind of gave you was kind of a not very great, but basically it's a process that oftentimes some people from the Christian faith will use to deal with really difficult circumstances. And for me, it's a no go as far as my
Mhm.
approach. But you're
Yeah.
right. If someone else wants to go about that, if that's how they want to live, that's totally fine. The
Well,
question I'll be
that's right.
asking myself is how are you going to function in this world? Because a world that's global. And so to me, it's like if you want to live the life, fine. But there's going to be consequences to approaching the world in that particular way. In a world that's really diverse and has different ways of approaching how we access knowledge and different experiences.
Mhm. Well, and maybe there won't be, right? Maybe you prefer to sort of hang around people who think like you, which is your right.
Right.
Like it really
True.
is. You hang on who you
True.
want to hang on. You over
Right.
18, it's your world, right?
Right.
But imposing a belief system on somebody else and
Right.
insisting yours is right and then
Right.
creating legislation around that
Yeah.
is disturbing. But that's sort of we've been engaged in that process for a long time and it's come to a head. So it makes me sad,
Right.
right? And it's disturbing. It's
Right.
it's angering.
Mhm.
I really do feel like there is a place for everybody's voice and belief system at
Right.
the table. But, not everyone believe that. So who am I?
Well, and I guess for me, it's like you and I think we can have a really healthy conversation around this. I think the challenge is the end result. The end result is if you're trans, this is not a place where you feel like you're at home. in your schools, right? If you happen to be a person of color, if you're not of the Christian faith, or even if you're a different version of Christianity, or of no faith whatsoever, the
Yeah.
public school system is basically a place where you're not going to feel at home or connected to other people. And I
Yeah.
think that's fundamentally the problem. And
Well,
so
yeah,
that's,
but you say it's a problem, but for sort of the point I think behind the legislation is get with the program. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not considered a problem. We should all believe the same thing. We should all do the same
yeah.
thing. So,
Which kind of gets to your topic, which is this idea of getting with the program and letting the federal government come in with the National Guard and just kind of take over to somehow make it safer, despite the fact that crime is actually down in Chicago and other cities.
it is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And it just, the right by might philosophy is what is really disturbing. We're going
Yes.
to make you right by might. We're going to make you believe this. We're going to force these things. There's no room for dialogue, there's no room for due process anywhere.
Mhm.
And it just, it's just disturbing. Oh, just leave people alone. Just leave
I
people
mean,
alone. Let people do them. Just leave people. You don't have, if you don't like a certain group of people, don't live by them, right?
yes.
But they have a right. People have a right to exist. You just don't have to like them. So why do we need to legislate? Mm.
It's really depressing because I was listening to someone the other day talking about, yeah, he wanted to leave California because the Mexicans were taking over. This whole idea was an invasion, right? And so we're going to have the National Guard come in to somehow protect people from this invasion. It's a cesspool. I think is the favorite word that she used about
Okay.
these places.
I'm giving that major side eye considering that Mexico was stolen and California used to be part of Mexico, but whatever.
Yeah,
Mm, come on now. But anyway, hey,
no,
Vaughn.
no, it's insane kind of nonsense. But I do want to get to the topic around. I think they're connected. Maybe you said overscheduling kids,
Oh my
and
goodness. So
tell me
the
more about.
motherhood dilemma and overscheduling kids, right? So the motherhood dilemma is sort of this societal expectation that and we sort of talked about the whole trad wife thing before, so I'm going to bring that into it that, you know, mothers are supposed to be everything to their children, right? And, and you're not supposed to have your own individual identity,
Right,
right? And you're supposed to be selfless and giving all the time, the sort of archetype of mother and who you're supposed to be. And
right,
I think a lot of women feel very guilty when they're not able to sort of, become that
right,
particular archetype.
right. And it's funny you say that because I've come across this a lot, particularly in my dating life, where I've met a number of people where their kids are now older, maybe they're adults, or they're
Yeah,
in their last years of high school, and they haven't dated in like 3, 4, 5 more years, maybe
yeah.
even since they maybe broke up with or ended the relationship with their previous partner. And it's because they wanted to be fully committed to their kid. They felt guilty about how to kind of navigate bringing new people around or not. It was just, but it's like that really wasn't the issue. The real issue was this idea that I have to commit all of who I am to my child, and anything short of that makes me a shitty mom.
So wait, I'm gonna ask you a question. How, you know it's coming. How did you navigate that?
Oh, it was not easy because I'm of the philosophy that now when you're just getting to know someone, of course your kids should always be the highest priority no matter what, right? But if you're going to be in a relationship, the question I think anyone should be asking themselves that if this is going to be a relationship of value and that's have a primary place in my life, then I need to figure out how that fits into the situation. Now, for some women, the idea of having any man around is a no go, and that's
Mhm,
okay. But I'm not going to die. I'm not going to likely date you,
mhm.
and that's okay. That's your choice.
So
But
you're saying that you've kicked some of your dating partners to the curb because they could not let those kids loose.
yeah, and that's a personal choice, right? It's a personal choice. It's just not one I agree with, and
You
that's
said,
okay.
"What about me? What
Yeah,
about me?"
yeah, and the thing is, and then the other dynamic that kicks in is this whole, and you hear this over and over. And I'm not saying it's not true, but it's kind of it's a it's a thing to kind of have to navigate too. It's their previous partner was a child basically, and so they had if they had two kids, that the partner was the third kid, and
Yeah.
so there's this kind of anxiety about being in the same kind of situation again. Yet how they deal with everyone who lives in their house is like their children. I'm like, well, no, I'm a grown ass man, so we have to figure this out. And for a lot of
Mm.
people, it's very difficult to figure that out. And sometimes it's best for them to delay that until their kids aren't around. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's still this idea that, back to your point, which is women, and sometimes men too, but I come across it far less. Women feel like they have to fully commit their themselves and who they are and their sacrifices, everything to the child. And the question I always ask is, so what do you get? Who's there for you?
Well,
Who has
so
your back?
can I just break something down that you just said? So you
Mhm.
don't find it as much with men. That goes back to the whole motherhood dilemma thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like I do, I mean, I know lots of great dads, right? So
Mhm.
this is no slight against dads at all,
Right.
right?
Right.
But I feel like women are more pressured by other women, by society,
Mm-hmm.
right? To
Mm-hmm.
be to sort of see motherhood as this all-consuming
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Right. And so by the time like, if you and your partner break up, by the time you start dating someone new, that's sort of set in there and you're a bad mom. I mean, how many therapy clients do I have that feel like they're a bad mom because
Yeah.
they are not everything to their children? And it's such an unhealthy model, right?
Well,
Like your identity gets lost and your individual identity can get lost or people really struggle with that.
it gets lost, and the contrast to that for men is that the excuses they come for not being more involved with their children is, well, they're probably better off with their mother anyhow. Stuff like that.
Okay, that's some old BS now.
It is, but it's the same kind of BS, the same kind
Well,
of
it's
unhealthy.
like these are your kids. Get in there.
Exactly. Get in there. And you know what?
Yeah,
These are your kids, but you ain't got to do everything for them all the time.
true.
Let other adults in their lives to contribute to their well being and success. And so it's like it's really it's a weird contrast where you have women overly involved and men under involved,
Yeah,
almost to the point of neglect. Well, not almost, oftentimes neglecting their children. And
yeah.
to me, it's very difficult. The idea. Real quick story. I was dating a woman. She wanted to have a child, and I was cool with having a kid. But when we come to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want to
Hit
have a
me.
kid.
I got three. Which one you want? I'm gonna send you one. Which one? Just pick one. I have three.
I'm good. I'm so
I
good.
know.
But
You raised your own. It's true. It's true. Sorry.
but she proposed the idea. I said, "No, I'm okay with not having kids with you." And then she says, "Well, how about if I like?" She basically got a donor, and I still had a kid that wasn't yours. I'm like, I'm still going to take care of it. And so it was like, and so it's like somehow it wasn't connecting, and I'm just like, again, there's this expectation of women are going to be overly involved, and men somehow are
Yeah.
going to just sit and just sit there and be uninvolved. It boggles my mind. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
do you
and
come
I think
across that with
it's
women a lot?
say what?
Do you come across women a lot with that motherhood dilemma you're talking about?
Oh my God. Yes. Absolutely. And I think it is the expectation, and obviously different cultures have different expectations, but that, you're supposed to do everything. You're supposed to be everything to your children. Now, for me, I'm lucky in a way because I had them when I was older. So my professional identity and sort of my grown up identity were already set, and so I feel like, it's still crazy, but I'm a little more balanced.
Hmm.
But I think that it's a big struggle, and it's difficult.
It's funny you say that because that was a thing that came out in that movie. I know you told me this before. You oversee a whole lot of movies, but it was the Crazy Rich Asians,
I
where
did see that
okay,
one. It was funny.
remember when the mom, the matriarch of the movie, was kind of annoyed with the fiance or the woman who's going to be brought into the family because she thought she was too American because she was too selfish. She didn't know how important it was to sacrifice for your family and for your kids. And then
Yeah.
so there's a I guess it goes across culture. I think it looks different, of course, but there
Yeah.
is this kind of theme around women sacrificing their full selves for their family and or their children.
But that's why a lot of women are like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. That's why, we see birth rates way down.
Mhm.
Most places in the world, China, Europe, the United States, because women are like, oh no. Like even my own daughter's like, oh, this is hard. I think no. I was like, I don't care if you have kids, but can we have some dogs? She's like, yes. I'm like, great. Right. But she's like, oh, this is hard. No. Right. And I think that a lot of women are, and men are opting out of
Yeah.
having kids because it is expensive, it is difficult, it's
Right.
emotionally draining. They are amazing. They
Yes.
are amazing,
Yes.
right? But people like, no, 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 thank you. No,
And, but
no.
see, and then on top of that, I was talking to this woman from the Ukraine. She goes, "In my family, you grew up, you making demands of your parents and being spoiled was just is a misnomer. It's like, no, your job was to come on, and you had a responsibility. It was to you know to feed the cows or cut the grass or clean around the house. You had these duties and responsibilities, and so this is kind of this funny shift that we're going where we spend so much time on our children where we feel lucky that we have them, which we do, right? But at the same time, almost kind of a weird a lack of responsibility that we place on kids and their responsibility to fulfill kind of different duties. I don't know, it's a funny dynamic that seems to be a shift of sorts. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Well, remember, we're both Generation Xers, so the jokes about us are, we were drinking from the hose and staying out. But the commercials were like, "Do you know where your children are?" Right? Because a lot of parents did it. We were able to run feral and run wild, and this is when divorce came a thing. So, I do feel like we have moved from kind of having kind of pushing independence earlier to pushing it later. What is it my son said to me the other day? I was like, he's like, can I have some toast? I'm like, yeah, get up and get it. And he's like, and I was like, oh, come on, stop. You butter it better, mom. I was like, that's the last time butter your toast. Come on now.
That's a good point because I remember now my kids are grown now, and
Yeah,
so it's kind of understood. Like, you hungry, you better go get something. But
you better
there's
get
still been,
something.
but there, and I remember doing this myself, and I know my daughter has done it with me, and she'll come home and she goes, "Are you gonna make me something?" And there's something about that whole dynamic of wanting. I
To be
mean,
taken care of.
yeah, and so and so I
You
guess
know
what I'm
you
trying.
made her something. You made her something, didn't you?
No, not that time, but another time I
No,
did.
but other times, otherwise
Other
she
time.
wouldn't be asking.
Yes, yes. I mean, I definitely have indulged her on a number of occasions. Or if it's not making something, it's like going out to eat or something like that. Those kinds of things.
Fair. You
And
gonna
so we
feed
do
me?
indulge our children. Not that we're totally, you're out there in the wilderness doing your own thing. But
Right.
I don't know. It's finding that balance, and I don't know what the balance is necessarily, but it seems like it needs to be. I don't know. I guess my concern is as a man when I watch the women in my life over the years, is it's in the end, it's like you're not getting the things that you need, right? Because you're
Right.
sacrificing so much. I mean, literally, women. When you're breastfeeding, you're giving up the calcium in your bones. If you're not, literally taking the nutrients from your body. And so it goes from that to other kinds of time and money and
Yeah.
resources, literally sucking it from your body. And
Yeah,
here I am.
the succubuses. What is it? Michelle Obama called them emotional terrorists. I mean, again, I I love them. I do. But
Right.
let's just be clear. Let's be clear. Wait, I think okay. So I don't want to run out of time. I think it's time for a card.
Yes, it is. It is. It
Okay.
is. But you have something to say before that?
I'm waiting
Okay.
for the
Okay.
card.
All right. Cool. 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 So
Okay.
here you go.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Something new I've learned about sexuality is blank. Something new I learned about sexuality is blank.
Something new I learned about sexuality is it's not new. So, number one, every generation thinks it invented sex, right? And they develop new language around sex, right?
Right.
So, my daughter is the end of Gen Z, and my sons begin Gen Alpha. And some of their terminology for things, it's like speaking a different language, right? So one of the things as a therapist that I have found is when people fall in love, right, it doesn't matter what age they are, we all have similar behaviors around those things, even if you 70 and or
Mhm.
90 and you fall in love with somebody. So what I learned about sexuality is we keep thinking that we're reinventing it, and we're actually not. Human beings have figured out how to have sex and procreate for years and years and years, right? So it ain't new. The
Yeah,
language is new. The
yeah.
behavior is similar. It just a new take. So that's what I've
Well,
that's
it's
what
kind of
I've
like
learned.
going to a used clothing store. It's new to me.
Exactly. It's new to me. It's new to me, but it ain't new.
Not really. This is old but new still in the sense of like my sexual knowledge. I remember when I learned that there were asexuals in the world
Yeah.
because I just assumed I was a grown ass man. I was like, yeah, well, everyone has a lot or a little, and then there was the fact that there was a group of people out who were just not at all.
Yeah.
And just it kind I'll be honest, it blew my mind because just from my frame of reference, of course everybody wants to do it.
That's really your frame of reference.
Yes, exactly. Just like these
Yeah.
Gen Zers walking around talking about thinking about sex is new or something. I know you came up with a
Yeah.
new name.
So being asexual is a sexual orientation,
Yes.
right? It's on a continuum. Like there are people who are not desirous of sex. And as a couples therapist, right, we see sexual behavior changing over the life of the couple, right?
Yes.
Where some
Yes.
couples, it either decreases or they don't have sex at all, right? And typically we don't say it's a problem. If both people are like, no, I'm good. I don't have sex with you. I don't have sex. It's not a problem. So not new human beings patterns, although Gen Z, again, research shows is having much less sex in their youth than previous generations. Did you know that?
Yeah, well, I thought maybe we talked about that, but yeah, it's definitely having more less sex than usual. And the reason it came up for me was I was watching a show called Platonic. I won't go into
Okay.
what the show's about, but it's with Seth Rogen and some other folks. And he fell in love with this woman who's a billionaire, and found out the night before they were going to get married that she's like, I just, I prefer not to have sex.
But she's a billionaire.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's thinking. She's a billionaire. She's perfect. And then she just looked up and said, "Yeah, I just prefer not to have it, and I'm okay with that." And he just freaked out. And it's like, and the thing is, it's. I think the challenge is that kind of like with me is I assume well everyone's at some kind of level, right? And
Yeah.
yes, they might be a minority of the population, but it's a viable lifestyle. And these are people who still have full relationships. It's just not
Hmm.
necessarily sexual. It's still romance involved. There's still a lot of time spent
Sure.
together. Should they
Sure.
cohabitate? They just don't. They're not intimate in that particular kind of way. They're intimate in other ways.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, there's no issue if you're with a partner that doesn't desire that. If you had two people in a relationship and both of them are fine with where their sexual relationship is, it's not a problem,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Regardless if society tells you it's a problem, it's not a problem.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest issue. I mean, back to again societal expectations about how things should or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And Leon's other extreme of it is people expectation that what you see in adult films is how it's supposed to be on a daily basis.
Oh God.
I
Right.
mean,
So part of
that's like
my, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that's kind of like expecting when you're you go watch a marathon or the Olympics and you're gonna go out and do exactly the same thing, bruh. It's
Yeah.
not gonna happen. All right.
Oh, you're gonna have a heart attack. So I spent part of my career as a human sexuality educator, right? Used
Okay.
to teach college level human sexuality classes. And what people think they know is kind of interesting, right? And movie sex, right? Comparing yourself to that really just damages your own sex life. So,
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to talk about this again
Oh
because
yeah.
this is a lively topic and we're running out of time. But,
Yeah.
I'll say what people think they know about sex and what they actually know about sex are sometimes not often the same, even though we have, all kinds of resources out there. Americans typically, at least what research shows, are still largely, and this is different for different communities, but more prudish about sex than we might assume.
So your advice is lowball yourself. Don't have these high expectations. Look, it's okay, bro. You know, Or
Yeah,
as some
my
comedians
advice
say,
is,
uh,
you do you.
yeah.
Consensually do you, and don't compare yourselves to others.
Or as Chris Tucker says, you get 5 minutes. That's all you get is 5 minutes. No more, no less. Well, hey, we're at the side eye section. I know we're almost running out of time. My
Yeah,
side eye is for this comedian Drewski, who apparently showed up at a NASCAR event in whiteface. Have you heard about this?
no.
And it wasn't just whiteface, like, his face and maybe his hands. It was full body whiteface where he's supposed to be like a redneck he's wearing overalls, he has a mullet, he's wearing a hat and a beard. And apparently he's running through NASCAR in full whiteface regalia.
Was this a white guy?
No, it's a brother, black guy.
What's he doing? They didn't kill him.
He acting real light skinned. That's what he's doing.
Hey, 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 hey. That is so side eye. Hey, rude, rude.
Yeah.
Comment on people's skin tone. You about to
Hey.
get hung up on. We gotta go anyway.
Yeah. Well, hey, I found out I was light skinned in the third grade, so it's okay.
You're so
I didn't
silly.
know. I didn't
You're
know.
so silly. You're so silly.
Well, that's my side eye. I didn't know if you happen to have a side eye other than that. Other than what if we're gonna do
No.
our celebration
Give
card.
us the last card. Give us the
Yes.
last card.
See. Here we go. I spoke my truth when blank. I spoke my truth when blank.
Every day. All the time. All the time. I'm middle aged. I am not into not speaking the truth. It doesn't mean I need people to listen, but I'm not. No, all the time, every day. Mm-mm.
So is this a training you go through on your way to being a grandmother, where you just say whatever you want?
Are you doing that? What are you trying to say about being a grandmother?
On your way, not that you.
No,
Yeah, on
I
your way.
think I think something happens as you get older where you're just like, what the hell? Why do I care what people think?
Okay, grandma in training. There we go.
Just be you. Just be you. And you?
It's funny you say that. The thought that came to me, I speak my truth. I feel like I wake up in the morning trying to just like, what am I thinking today? What is my truth? Not that I don't know what it is, but it's like, where am I going to land? How can I say this in a way that makes sense to me? And
Mm.
so I wake up like deliberating, not whether I'm going to tell my truth, but how I'm going to tell my truth.
Okay, you're more thoughtful. It just comes out of my mouth. I
I
just
see the
you got a whole thought process. I'm just like, I don't give a damn. So
Well, it's just me by myself. Ain't no kids coming to wake me up asking for toast. I'm just by myself, and my biggest dilemma is, do I open the curtains or not?
fair. Well, you've earned that. You've earned that.
Yeah. Well, hey, Dr. Helm, it is so good to see you again, and
It's good to be with you, KP.
yeah, we'll have to make sure to make our conversation next time about your hair journey.
My hair journey. Oh, and again, hi Vaughn. Thanks for logging in.
All right. We'll see you next time, and you
Okay.
enjoy. All right.
All right. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.